Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the international webinar series on holistic health, well-being, and sustainable development 2025, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 77 years of independence, and United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030 as part of awareness and campaigns. Commemorating Azad United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030 and Viksit Bharat at 2047, and also various other events being commemorated and celebrated today. Before we start our sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः.
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's commemorations and celebrations. Today, we are celebrating International Day to End Obstetric Fistula on 23rd May with the theme Her Health, Her Right, Shaping a Future Without Fistula. Nearly 500,000 women and girls worldwide are living with obstetric fistula. Thousands of new cases occur annually. For every maternal death, 20 to 30 additional women experience childbirth injuries that significantly affect their quality of life and well-being. In the 90% of obstetric fistula cases, the baby dies. Baby who survive such traumatic births can face significant health challenges such as cerebral palsy and paralysis. UNFPA supported nearly 150,000 surgical repairs for fistula between 2003 and 2024. Midwives provide the majority of first-line maternal care and are key to preventing fistula and other childbirth injuries. In 2021, the global shortage of midwives is estimated at 9 lakhs, of which 5 lakhs are needed in sub-Saharan alone. So no woman or girl should have to endure obstetric fistula, the devastating condition which is caused by complications during childbirth, results in pain, isolation, and indignity, and yet is entirely preventable and treatable. This year's theme, Her Health, Her Right, Shaping a Future Without Fistula, underscores a powerful truth that every woman and girl has a fundamental right to health, particularly sexual and reproductive health, and that continued existence of obstetric fistula to a clear violation of that right. So ending fistula would improve maternal health and well-being, and overall is essential to achieving universal health coverage. To build a future free of fistula, we must empower women and girls to make informed decisions about their sexual and reproductive health. High quality, comprehensive care should be enjoyed by all regardless of geography, income, or status. So effective and inclusive solutions must be grounded in the lived experiences of women, particularly those who have survived fistula. Their voices are essential in shaping policies and services that are rights based and culturally sensitive. When community health workers, survivors, and informed leaders come together, they can challenge stigma, break down discriminatory norms, and spark real, lasting challenge. UNFPA leads the global campaign to end fistula, a drive to transform the lives of vulnerable women and girls. The 21-year-old campaign represents a global commitment to fistula prevention and holistic treatment, including surgical repair and social reintegration and rehabilitation. Despite progress, elimination by 2030 demands accelerated action starting now. So get involved. Obstetric fistula remains a silent crisis. Obstetric fistula is one of the most serious and tragic childbirth injuries, a hole between the birth canal and bladder and or rectum. It is caused by a prolonged obstructed labor without access to timely, high quality medical treatment. It leaves women and girls leaking urine, faces, or both, and often leads to chronic medical problems, depression, social isolation, and deepening poverty. 500,000 women and girls in sub-Saharan Africa, Asia, the Arab states region, and Latin America and the Caribbean are estimated to be living with fistula, with new cases developing every year. Yet fistula is almost entirely prevented. In persistence is a reminder of gross inequalities, a sign of global inequality, and an indication that health and social systems are failing to protect the health and human rights of the poorest and most vulnerable women and girls. As the leader of the United Nations Population Fund, UNFPA, provides strategic vision, technical guidance and support, medical supplies, training and capacity building, as well as funds for fistula prevention, treatment, and social reintegration and advocacy programs. UNFPA also strengthens sexual and reproductive health care, including timely and quality emergency obstetric services to prevent obstetric fistula from occurring in the first place. The so-called Orange Manual has been the only authoritative gold standard guide to the holistic, comprehensive, and bigger picture aspects of eliminating obstetric fistula, including programming, policy, prevention, treatment, social reintegration, and more. The original 2006 version of the manual has now been updated with the latest evidence, strategies, tools, and resources. So when we look at the background of the problem, a problem that affected and that continue to affect 50,000 to 1 lakh women each year, about 800 women died from pregnancy or childbirth related complications around the world every day. For each woman who dies of maternal related causes, it is estimated that at least 20 women experience a maternal morbidity, one of the most severe forms, which is obstetric fistula. Obstetric fistula is an abnormal opening between a woman's genital tract and her urinary tract or rectum caused by prolonged obstructed labor without treatment. Between 50,000 to 1 lakh new cases develop worldwide each year. Most fistulas occur among women living in poverty in cultures where a woman's status and self-esteem may depend almost entirely on her marriage and ability to bear children. Yet fistula is almost entirely preventable. Its persistence is a sign that health systems are failing to meet women's essential needs. Obstetric fistula symptoms are generally manifested in early postpartum period. Other equally served symptoms such as psychological trauma, deteriorating health, increasing poverty, and social stigmatization by family and friends can often do occur. So obstetric fistula can be prevented and in most cases treated. Patients with uncomplicated fistula can undergo a simple surgery that could cost $600 per patient, including post-operative care and rehabilitation support. Today is also commemorated as World Crohn's and Colitis Day, which is observed on May 23rd every year. Crohn's and colitis are the two common kinds of IBD. IBD affects around 7 million people globally, although it is not a prevalent disease. During the last 20 years, an increasing number of people have been diagnosed inflammatory bowel disease, in short known as IBD, which is a serious chronic digestive disease with no cure, no recognized cause, and lack of awareness of the pain and suffering that IBD patients endure. World Crohn's and Colitis Day creates awareness of the struggles of such patients. For many years, Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis remained mostly unknown. Wilkes and Moxon, two English physicians, were first to identify ulcerative colitis in 1875, effectively distinguishing it from infectious diarrheal disorders. There were accounts of the illness that had symptoms similar to ulcerative colitis before the Civil War. It wasn't until 1875 that it was identified as a distinct illness. In 1956, Suzanne Rosenthal began experiencing terrible gastrointestinal troubles. Doctors had no idea what was wrong with her for years and had misdiagnosed her. After being moved by Susanna's experience, the Rosenthals began exploring methods to fund Crohn's and colitis research in the 1960s. So the National Foundation for Colitis and Colitis were created on September 12, 1967 by the Rosenthals, the models, the Dr. Henry Jonowitz, to address the issue of Crohn's and colitis. So it wasn't until 1932 that three doctors, Burrill Crohn, Leo Ginsberg, and Gordon T. Oppenheimer, described Crohn's disease for the first time. Intestinal tuberculosis was assumed to be the only disease affecting small intestine at that time. These doctors gathered information from 14 patients who had abdominal cramps, diarrhea, fever, and weight loss, and discovered that the symptoms were caused by the tuberculosis or any other known illness. So they defined a novel disease entity named regional ileitis at first and then Crohn's disease subsequently. IBD was poorly understood for many years after the two diseases were discovered. The little study was performed into the causes and treatments of Crohn's and colitis, let alone hunt for the remedies. Today is also commemorated as World Turtle Day. Turtles and tortoises are common sightings in parables, stories, and pop culture, and we celebrate World Turtle Day on May 23rd to honor these resilient animals. Turtles and tortoises are associated with wisdom and perseverance. They are reptiles that are found in many environments all over the world. These creatures play an important role in their respective ecosystems. They dig holes that are inhabited by other creatures and keep our beaches clean by feeding on dead fish that wash up on the shores. They maintain an ecological balance, and therefore it is important to conserve these gentle animals. It is easy to get confused between a tortoise and a turtle. The main difference between the two is that turtles sometimes live in water, while tortoise only live on the land. Turtles live up to the age of 40 and have streamlined and mostly flat shells. On the other hand, tortoise can live up to 300 years and they can have larger, more domed shells. You will mostly find turtles in sea, while tortoise inhabit dense jungles and grasslands. Turtles and tortoise are two different animals, but this day is dedicated to celebrating and protecting both. The day was first observed by American Tortoise Rescue in 2002, and it highlights the suffering and the dwindling numbers of these animals due to human interface and environmental hazards. Schools, rescue centers, and nature lovers all come together on this day to learn more about these creatures and pledge their elegance to help save them. American Tortoise Rescue was created by Susan Tillum and Marshall Thompson. They organize charity drives and actively work to spread awareness for critical conditions of these shelled reptiles. The couple is known for their human treatment of all animals, including reptiles. Since its establishment in 1990, American Tortoise Rescue has given homes to over 4,000 tortoises and turtles. The organization also assists the local law enforcement in guarding turtles' natural habitats and tending them when they are sick. So the first version of Aesop's fable, The Tortoise and the Hare, are published in 1547. ATR is established in 1990. Thompson established American Tortoise Rescue, which primarily organizes this World Turtle Day. So the first World Turtle Day is celebrated by ATR in 2002. USPS prints its first batch of Save the Sea Turtle stamps and donates the proceedings from it to species conservation in 2011. So the Turtle Day is celebrated on every year on May 23rd. According to Hinduism, Kurma is the turtle god, one of the avatars of Lord Sri Vishnu. World Turtle Day is celebrated to increase awareness about these creatures and ensure their protection. Adopt a turtle or a tortoise from the rescue shelter. These creatures make for hassle-free pets. They do not need much attention and are perfect pets for your young children. Especially in countries like India, they are endangered animals. So you cannot pet a turtle which is wild. There are certain turtles which are available, which are grown in captivity. They are available in aquarium shops, which are generally mostly these red-eared turtles, which are not grown in the habitat. They are available, but otherwise any naturally grown or wild turtles or tortoise are not supposed to be kept in human captivity, and it is also, as it is declared as endangered species, and we need to help them in conservation, because many times there are a lot of tortoise and turtles that are neglected by the pet parents, so it is not advisable to keep them. And there is also a fine of 1,000 rupees, and also a case can be filed and registered on such people who are illegally keeping such endangered species in captivity and also as pets. So you may want to donate to local tortoise conservation centers as well as American Tortoise Rescue. So no amount is small and your donation will go a long way. So better you donate or adopt a turtle within the rescue centers or adoption centers where they can take care of the turtle. And you also have the joy and happiness and satisfaction of owning or sponsoring a turtle or tortoise. So you can sign up a turtle rescue center and volunteer to help out if you want a personal interaction or in-person volunteering experience. Volunteers can help out by tending a sick turtles, feeding them, etc., so that we can have the on-hand experience. So the shell is part of the skeleton. So the shell, which is the most distinguished part of a turtle, and experts say that it is made up of 50 bones. So turtles and tortoises are illegally traded for their meat, shell, and skin. This has led to the endangerment of the creatures. It is one of the most illegally traded animals and also endangered species, as I already mentioned. You should not keep them aspects unless your local authority allows you and it is not declared as endangered species in your country. So check. Uh, it is already declared as endangered species like star tortoise and many other tortoise, which are not supposed to be kept as pets and they have to be protected, conserved. So there are 300 species of turtles. Turtles may look the same to us, but there are actually 300 species of them. Of these, 129 are endangered. So turtles are cold-blooded animals with a slow metabolism. Their long lifespan is often attributed to this. The first turtles existed 200 million years ago alongside dinosaurs. So we inhabit the planet with countless different creatures. Well, Turtle Day reminds us to be respectful of ecological balance and sensitive to our animal friends. Well, Turtle Day promises a better future where humans and turtles can coexist peacefully. Protecting these animals means protecting our own future. Animal lovers look forward to this day and to their bit for the conservation of turtles and tortoise. It's a great day to volunteer, raise awareness, and donate. So this year we are also celebrating 25th anniversary of World Turtle Day, which has been launched in the year 2000 by Meet Susan and Marshall. So this year as we are celebrating 25th anniversary, which is started by the American Tortoise Rescue, ATR, which is a non-profit organization established in 1990 for the protection of all species, turtles and of tortoise, is celebrating in 24th Annual International World Turtle Day on May 23rd. That is in 2004, and now this is 2005. That is 25th anniversary. So before we look into detail, let's cover other events as well. So today we are celebrating National Title Track Day in US, which is celebrated every year on the fourth Friday of May, and this year it falls on May 23rd. Is the day in which we remember our favorite title tracks in albums and movies, but just want the title track. So, put it simply, it's a music track that shares the name of the album or movie it belongs to. Some examples include Let It Be by the Beatles and Back in Back or Back in Black by AC/DC. As for movies, Ghostbusters, they tend to be defining and most memorable tracks of the album or movie. And some even share a name with artists such as Black Sabbath or even something like In the Court of Crimson King by Crimson King and so on. Today is also commemorated as National Taffy Day in US. We celebrate our favorite sweet and chewy treat on National Taffy Day. Taffy was a long history as one of the American native sweets. Common lore has it that in 1880s, a Jersey Shore candy shop got flooded, soaking the shop's taffy stock with Atlantic salt water. On a lark, the owner sold the candy as saltwater taffy, and the American delicacy was born. Today, it's sold on boardwalks up and down the eastern seaboard of the US and has even found its way to landlocked candy shops. National Taffy Day is a day to indulge the sweet pastime of unwrapping the twisty wax paper and popping a chewy bit of taffy into your mouth. Today is also commemorated as National Road Trip Day in US, which occurs on Friday before Memorial Day in the US on the last Monday of May. So this year it falls on May 23rd. That's the reason why the Great American Road Trip is now a catchphrase, because the US is one of the country where the road trips count as a holiday in themselves. So whether it's to pay tribute to the fallen national heroes by visiting their war memorials across the country, or an excuse to get out of town and have a change of scenery, the road trip has been loved by Americans throughout the history. From great works of literature inspired by the road to songs that we know and tour, road trips mean something to everyone, which is why we are excited. And the road trip has a special day of its own. Plus, who wouldn't want to make the most of long weekend and going out of town? And that's where we come in with tips to help you scratch the travel itch bug. Today is also commemorated as National Death Busters in US, which is observed annually on the Friday before Memorial Day, and this year it falls on May 23rd. Memorial Day honors all the men and women who served in the US military, but who have gone ahead of us. Most American troops of cemeteries or memorials holding family gatherings and participating in parades. It also, though unofficially, marks the beginning of summer season. The Memorial Day weekend has become notorious for being one of the most dangerous holidays to drive. The goal of National Death Busters Day is to remind us to be cautious and extra care when driving. National Death Busters Day was created in response to the high number of traffic accidents that occur on the Memorial Day weekend. It is a specific reminder to everyone to keep safe on the road, take all driving precautions, and be careful when traveling. Memorial Day is a 3-day weekend starting on the evening of Friday and ending it on a Sunday. Holidays by tradition allow families to travel. Many prefer to travel by car, which unfortunately involves the highest fatality rate among other forms of transportation. Holidays are occasions for celebrations, no doubt. And when we speak of celebration, consumption of alcohol is inevitable in the Western culture. And drinking and driving usually go together, so it has been observed that the Memorial Weekend is the most dangerous long weekend in the US, involving road crashes and car collisions among drunk drivers. Approximately 90% of all accidents during the Memorial Day weekend involve drunk driving. The National Safety Council, NSC, therefore encourages Americans to practice what is known as defensive driving, in which a car driver can anticipate dangerous road situations even when everybody around him or her, including pedestrians, bikers, and passersby on the road, will make mistakes. The NSC further urges American drivers to be aware of bicycles and motorcycles, pay close attention to traffic signs, be aware of blind spots, slow down at all intersections, check mirrors, often scan road conditions 20 seconds ahead, and maintain a safe distance from the vehicle in front of them. With more establishments opening across the US, the Memorial Day weekend is expected to be more crowded. Learning from the experience of American traveling on this day, being careful when driving, drivers and their loved ones will be all better for that. Today is also commemorated as National Cooler Day in US, which is celebrated on the Friday before Memorial Day. It is all about appreciating life-saving invention, which is the cooler. This year it takes place on May 23rd. You can imagine that as simple as cooler, it wasn't mainstream until 1950s. A cooler is an insulated box that keeps food or drinks cool. Ice cubes or icebergs are usually used in the cooler to help the contents inside stay cool. Coolers are commonly used during the summer season for storage or transporting perishable products. They are also taken on picnics, vacations, or outdoor activities. Depending on the occasion, coolers are of different sizes, including personal coolers, disposable coolers, reusable coolers, and large coolers with wheels. Today is also commemorated as Medical Coder Day in US, which is observed on every year on on May 23rd, and it is a day dedicated to celebrating the work and dedication of medical coders countrywide. So coders are committed to the analysis and classification of medical data. The information gathered by medical doctors is used by companies, organizations, and even the government because it is essential to improve the healthcare management system. So medical coders are professionals who analyze and classify different types of medical data using various forms of code. The data is then shared with healthcare providers, government facilities, and international agencies to be applied in research studies and constant improvement of the services they provide. By using standardized coding, medical coders provide reliable data across the various other reports published on different dates. To arrange the best reports, medical coders have a vast knowledge of anatomy, medical terminology, and even legal aspects of the healthcare industry, as well as good management of computer or paper-based data. These professionals can work by following three fundamentals: abstraction, assignment, and review. Further, the coder goes through the patient's medical history, then transforms it all into code, and finally reviews it all, checking to see if information collected and coded is relevant to the report's final goal. Medical coders go from trainee or entry level to nosologists, experts in the area with knowledge in more than one type of classification. In the US, some courses provide certificates, degrees, and diplomas for medical coding. Recently graduated students go through internships and work with less complicated cases until they get a bachelor's or graduate degree to work with intermediate or senior level cases. Today is also commemorated as Lucky Penny Day in US. It's always nice to find a penny. On this day, everyone is all about look out in the hopes of finding one lying around. The discovery of pennies is often associated with good luck, and celebrations believe that if you find a penny on Lucky Penny Day, you might be incredibly blessed. Nobody really knows how this penny day came to be about. However, the first pennies in the US were minted from copper in 1793. The phrase worth a penny may sound ridiculous to us today, but there was once a time when a penny held significant value. Over the years, the penny has lost its value due to inflation and it's practically worthless now. Nevertheless, it's always nice to find a penny when you aren't looking for it. Penny is like a pice in US. Here, how we have pies now, we no longer use pies. It is just 1 rupee, and there also it has the minimum currency is almost $1. So the Lucky Penny Day is also celebrated by those who believe that pennies are lucky charms. They always keep an eye on the ground to see if they will be fortunate enough to find a lucky penny on this day. Pennies are believed to be harbingers of good things and celebrated as lucky item in many cultures. A penny is usually the smallest unit of currency in many countries. The present day pennies were uh, inspired by the ancient Roman denarius. And it wasn't until 757 AD the pennies were introduced in England. The first settlers took it to America, and from 1793, America started minting its own pennies. Today is also commemorated as Don't Fry Day in US, celebrated on the Friday before Memorial Day, that is last Monday of May, which falls on May 23rd this year, and yet pun is intended. It has been designated by the National Council on Skin Cancer Prevention as a reminder for everyone to protect their skin as they usher in the summer and prepare to enjoy the great outdoors. It is also to raise awareness about sun safety methods and all harmful effects that overexposure can have. According to the organization, the motto for National Don't Friday is slip, slop, slap, and brag. Slip on shirt, slop on sunscreen with the appropriate SPF of 30 plus. Nowadays it is 50 is recommended. So slap on wide brimmed hat and wrap some cool shades on those eyes. So don't Friday falls on the Friday before Memorial Day because the long weekend is usually a time when people like to celebrate the outdoors by taking trips to beach or enjoying other outdoor activities in the sun. So it was first founded in 2008 by the National Council on Skin Cancer Prevention, along with partner organizations to raise awareness about the risks of UV ray exposure in correlation with high incidences of skin cancer. Its purpose is to educate the public about practicing sun-safe methods while still being safe, able to enjoy the summer sunshine and to help reduce the rate of skin cancer. Apparently, some statistics say that every hour someone in America dies of skin cancer. Therefore, we cannot afford to take it lightly. There are several types of skin cancer, with melanoma being the deadliest, the basal cell carcinoma being the most common. The good news is that early detection of skin cancer can help cure it. So following protective measures and keeping an eye on your skin is more than enough to keep the risk at bay. Today is also commemorated as Carb Day in US, which is observed on the last Friday before the Indy 500, and this year it will be held on May 23rd. Its name comes from the word carburation. This day boasts the biggest automobile race at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, in which the final practice session takes place before the race itself. So this is where teams tune their carburetors or chassis to make sure that their cars are fit for the race. Although no carburetors have been used by qualified cars since 1963, the name has stuck. Carb Day is now synonymous with parties, and it is a huge celebration before each race in which concerts feature many popular performances. So Carburation Days has enjoyed immense popularity as Carb Day since 2000, along with the final practice session. The day also hosts a pit stop contest, a support race, and a concert. Before mid 1950s, Carb Day was closed to public. Now it forms an integral part of the month-long run-up. In Indy 500, Carb Day was never set on a fixed date. But in 1969, it was held on Wednesday before the race. Then it was moved to Thursday before race day. Currently, Carb Day falls on the Friday before the race itself. So finally, before closing, we will just get back to our World Turtles Day. So we have three types of species among which are similar to tortoise or turtles or terrapins. So turtles, tortoise, and terrapins, which are reptiles with bony or cartilaginous shells. They belong to the taxonomic order of Testudines or chelone, which comes from the Greek word chelone, meaning interlocking shields or armor. Interestingly, their shell, unlike claws, nails, horns, and beaks, contain nerves. So they are quite receptive to the feeling through their shells. For example, they can also feel the pressure of weight on their shells and will experience pain if the shell is broken or cracked. So they are typical reptiles, cold-blooded, ectothermic, have scales, breathe air, and lay eggs on land. However, the terms used to describe these species can get a bit confusing depending on the type of English used. So, turtle, tortoise, or terrapin. What's in the name? The distinction between a turtle, tortoise, or terrapin comes from what habitat they are adapted to live in. Though the terminology differs slightly in certain countries, depending on where the world you are from, the term turtle can be used to refer to all species under the order. Whereas on the other hand, turtle could also only apply to the water-dwelling marine species. In Americas, all chelonians that live in or near water are commonly referred to as turtles, whereas in countries where British English is used, such as in the United Kingdom and South Africa, the word turtle relates to the species that live in marine environments. At the same time, terrapins are those that live in freshwater and tortoise are land-dwelling species. Of course, these are all generalization and depending upon where you live. These terms may be interchanged or used in different ways. That being said, in general, there are few commonly accepted distinctions between turtles, tortoise, and terrapins. So let's look at each of them. So turtles, which are marine, basically live in water. Marine-based turtles spend most of their lives at sea, only returning to land to lay eggs. Their shells are flat and streamlined to help reduce drag while swimming. Unlike land-based tortoises, who have short and sturdy legs, turtles have flippers-like limbs that help them to swim more efficiently. Though this makes getting around on land far more difficult. So turtles enjoy a very omnivorous diet, and depending on the type of turtle, they may eat jellyfish, small fish, invertebrates, sea sponges, or sea vegetation, such as seaweed or aquatic algae. Turtles can grow to substantial sizes. The largest is the leatherback sea turtle, and its scientific name is Dermochelis caricaceae. It is easily distinguished by the lack of a bony shell, which is replaced by leathery carapace. Adult leatherbacks have an average length of 1 to 1.75 meters and can weigh anywhere between 250 to 700 kg. So tortoise, which are terrestrial, that is, they live exclusively on land or dry land, are usually found in hot, dry environments. Their shells are not streamlined like marine turtles. They are instead shaped like a dome, and they have a column-shaped feet with claws. They are not good swimmers, but will occasionally enter bodies of water, such as a water hole or even a puddle, to clean themselves or drink water. Even though they are known to eat small amount of meat, tortoises are mainly herbivorous, primarily eating low-lying shrubs, cacti, grass, weeds, fruit, and other forms of vegetation. Like marine turtles, tortoises can grow quite big and can live for a very long time. The giant tortoise of the Galapagos and the Indian Ocean, along with Alberta tortoise from Seychelles, are the largest. They can weigh as much as 417 kg and can grow to be 1.3 meters in length. The oldest known living tortoise, also regarded as the oldest living terrestrial animal in the world, is Jonathan, a Seychelles giant tortoise, Albrechels gigantea hololisa, living on the island of St. Helena, who is due to turn 187 years old in 2019. And terrapins are freshwater turtles. Terrapins are semi-aquatic, basically, freshwater living versions of turtles. They live in either fresh or slightly salty, blackish water, and you will find them by water holes, ponds, or lakes. They tend to swim quite often, but are also spend their time on land, basking in the sun and occasionally burrowing in the mud. Their name comes from Turok, a Native American Algonquian word meaning a little turtle. Their hard shells is slightly streamlined, yet slow, yet also slightly dome-like tortoise. Even though they can swim, they don't have flippers like turtle, but rather legs similar to tortoise. You could say that they are all uh, like a mix between turtle and tortoise, like red-eared turtle, which I told, I have already mentioned, which are sold in the aquariums, which are captivated and which are raised for in captivity for aquariums and raising as pets. So red ear terrapins, also known as red ear sliders, are considered one of the world's worst invasive species due to escaping or being released as pets. So what generally people buy these pets from aquariums as small, and once they grow in big size, they leave them into the water bodies around. So these are invasive species. They are not born in nature, but they are, cultivated in aquariums. And when they are left into the natural sources, because once they become big, their maintenance become difficult. So they are released or they often escape into the water bodies, into the wild, and they cause adverse impacts in the ecosystem as they occupy because they have certain advantages over the native populations. So terrapins are omnivorous as their diet can consist of molluscs, small fish, crustaceans, insects, algae, and other aquatic plants. Unlike turtles and tortoises, terrapins remain relatively small. However, there are some giant species of terrapins out there, such as snapping turtle found in America, hence the use of them turtle, which is capable of growing to over 60 centimeters and weigh up to 80 kg. So terrapins are aggressive and will bite. They have incredibly sharp claws and powerful snapping jaw. Although they do not have teeth, they can easily take a finger off with a simple chop. So you may also bark. They may also bark when angry. So if you are having these red-eared slider, which are brought from aquariums, so be careful with them. So when they are angry, if you are nearby them, they can chop your fingers as. So with this, it's a time to, as the native species have been declared as endangered species, so it's our responsibility to protect each and every species on the planet because they are also part of the ecosystems and they are very much essential in balancing the environment and keeping them in control. We are all dependent on them. See, without us, without humans, nature can thrive and survive, but without them, we cannot survive. So it is very much important for us to take care of our species around. So with this, we shall end today's commemorations. Thank you everyone for joining us in today's commemoration. See you all tomorrow with the same time, with the same joining link, with different commemorations. And we also have Environment Conference coming up on June 5th. So we invite all the participants, presenters to come forward and present on this day. There is no registration form as such. You can directly join and fill the registration form in the Zoom and also provide feedback after your presentation or participation. So see you all tomorrow at the same time. Take care. Good night. Before leaving, fill the feedback form. So see you all tomorrow. Take care. Good night.